begin here and now. Those stories don't always have a clear direction. Sometimes they don't even have a clear beginning. What they do have is possibility. Those are stories still in the making, stories that have not yet been fully written, stories with the potential to create change for good or for ill. We won't know how the story ends until we get there, but we can decide what words we use to write those stories. Words like hope, kindness, gratitude, peace, courage, perseverance, and joy, and love, above all else, love.
No storm can shake my inmost What have you come seeking today? The healing balm of music, vibrating through your body, the comfort of being held in community, inspired discussion to stimulate your mind, the embodiment of singing with others. Perhaps you're not entirely sure what brought you here. Maybe it's a habit. Maybe it's curiosity. Maybe it's a deep need to feel how you are woven into the great mystery that surrounds and holds us, binding one to all. Whatever it was that brought you today, we are so glad you're here. Good morning. Welcome to MVUUF. My name, I don't listen, see. Conversation requires someone to listen. Good morning, welcome to MVUUF. I serve as a member of the Board of Trustees. We are blessed today to have a big worship team, including our minister, Reverend Laura Thompson, our musical director, Nicole Collins, Lark Lewis, our accompanist and flautist today, our guest accompanist, Eric Bell. Richard Duffin is on tech. Chad Snyder will be singing later with the MVUUF Choir, and his wife, Amy Lipke, will be rocking it out on the drum kit. And on hospitality today, we have the Gold team. Welcome all.
Friends, will you join me in the words for lighting our chalice this morning? I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. Our opening hymn this morning is number 67, We Sing Now Together.
Rejoicing in God's great
Beautiful. Friends, each week we set aside time to lift up the joys and sorrows of the congregation gathered here. We carry so much in our hearts. There are several ways you can participate in this. If you're here in person, you can raise your hand and tell us your joy or sorrow or gratitude on the microphone. Also, Matthew, can you check that box back there and let me know if there's anything in the joys and sorrows? You can also write things down out in the lobby area. And I'm going to write everything down in this book, which then I'm going to put downstairs. We've got a new caring card station set up. And so if there's anybody that you hear of and you think you'd like to send them a card of congratulations, of thinking of you, anything of the sort, you can use that station downstairs, put the card with their name on it in the basket that's down there, and we'll go ahead and mail that or get that off for you. Is there anyone here who has something to share today?
Hi,
Hi.
I've been singing with Sonia in Florida for 2 weeks, and it's been
Oh,
so
my
much fun.
goodness.
And I told her I was coming here, and she said, say hi to everybody. Hi.
Thanks, Barb.
Hi, I'm Leslie, and my oldest grandson is defending his PhD on Wednesday, and I ask for prayers and uplifting feelings, and he is researching a way to cure cancer.
I'm Seth, and it's my joy to welcome all our newcomers today.
Good morning. My name is Ernestine Smooth Phelps, and I'm grateful to be here. And it's all nice to meet all you guys, and I hope I'll be able to come back again and visit with you all even more. And you all have a lovely, blessed morning.
Good morning. I'm Nancy Buckman. I wanted to give an update on Marcy Lovejoy. She has been spending the weekend in the hospital. She had some dehydration, kidney problems, something with her eyes, but her spirits are fantastic. If anyone wants to contact her, call her up, or if you ever send a text to her, be sure to start by saying your name, because Siri reads it to her, and she would enjoy hearing from you, but visitors aren't necessary at this point. She hopes to come home by tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Nan Corliss, and we had a joy last night. Our Ukrainian family that we sponsored a year ago returned last night, and we had a party for them and gathered again. They're doing fabulously. They live in Las Vegas now, and they're going to reapply for 2 more years of temporary protective status. So it's a wonderful family.
Matthew Schneider. I am joyful today because I started organizing my shelf that collected all my junk since I was probably, 6 years old. I found some wonderful buttons from my days when I went to General Assembly back in 2006 that I am proudly wearing with honor today because they speak to me in the times that we are in, and it brings me joy to share it with the community. Thank you.
I have a joy here from Kathleen Coate. Her brother Jeff and his wife Melanie celebrate their 34th anniversary today. That's congratulations to them. That's Do we have anybody else? Is there anything on Zoom, Richard? I just want to express my joy in that number that the choir did with Lark on the flute. Those of you that have been around a while remember that it was this congregation that ordained me, and that was the opening song. It's a really special hymn to me. You know that. It's a special hymn to me. So I really loved that you sang that. It reminded me of my call. I'm grateful for that whenever I can get it. We lift up all of the joys and gratitudes and concerns that have been spoken today and those that remain in the sanctuary of our hearts. Will you all please join me in our song response? An add-on joy that I just got is, I don't know whose bag that is over there, but it's a tote bag, and it's Lark's. And it says "Totes Gay" on it with a rainbow, and that's bringing me a little second of joy right now, so a smile.
The Canadians, it's from Canada.
That was the Canadians. Thank you, Canadians. For our centering space today, I would like to offer the poem "The Low Road" by Marge Piercy, and that will be followed by a moment of centering silence. The Low Road by Marge Piercy. What can they do to you? Whatever they want. They can set you up, bust you, they can break your fingers, burn your brain with electricity, blur you with drugs so you can't walk, can't remember. They can take away your children, wall up your lover. They can do anything you can't stop them doing. How can you stop them? Alone, you can fight, you can refuse, you can take whatever revenge you can, but they'll roll right over you. But two people fighting back to back can cut through a mob. A snake dancing fire can break a cordon. Termites can bring down a mansion. Two people can give each other sane thoughts, can give support, conviction, love, massage, hope, sex. Three people are a delegation, a cell, a wedge. With four, you can play games and start a collective. With six, you can rent a whole house, have pie for dinner with no seconds, and make your own music. 13 makes a circle, 100 fill a hall, 1,000 have solidarity and your own newsletter, 10,000 community and your own papers, 100,000 a network of communities, 1,000,000 our own world. It goes one at a time. It starts when you care to act. It starts when you do it again after they say no. It starts when you say we and know who you mean. And each day you mean one more. Amen. It's so good today to be together in this community that we build one by one, each by each, coming together Here's a few things to keep in mind this week that are happening here that you might want to check out. Wednesday is our centering space at 5:30. It's a short meditation, about 20 minutes long. Richard is leading this week. Is that right, Richard? Yes, Richard is leading this week. That's downstairs in the youth room. I've really come to enjoy that time every week. I hope if you're able, you'll join us at 5:30 for that. Next Saturday is March already. March 2nd is our first Saturday gathering. That's at 10:30 a.m. The topic will be the U.S. Supreme Court questions and answers, and the speaker is Timothy Johnson, who's a professor of political science from the University of Minnesota. You can stay after the program for a catered lunch, which is $10. You should tell Kathy if you want that. She's right back here. Kathy. You can also bring your own lunch if you'd like to stay for lunch. So please come for that to hear more about the Supreme Court, getting questions answered. I also want to alert you in 2 Saturdays, on March 8th, there's going to be a community night gathering sponsored by Sarge, that's our racial justice team, and the finance team. We'll begin with a potluck at 5 o'clock, so come and bring a dish to share. And then at 6, we're going to be showing the film Will and Harper, which is a documentary that Will Ferrell made with his friend Harper, whose last name is escaping me, but it starts with an S, I think. And it's all about a road trip that they took together. Harper was a writer for Saturday Night Live. It was about a road trip that they took together after Harper came out as a trans woman. I understand it's very poignant and also funny, and I hope that you'll join us for that. You know, I want to say yesterday we were doing a trans justice and safety workshop here, and that's fantastic. But also fantastic is the opportunity to see things like this where you really get to see a relationship, you know, and so it brings a whole new depth to our, you know, welcoming of LGBTQ folks and understanding transitioning processes and all that. So again, potluck at 5, movie at 6, and there'll be a short discussion afterwards. Today, after the service, in the fireside room, please grab coffee and a snack. Oh, actually, wait, you don't need to grab a snack because I saw Kathy Ehlinger bringing in root beer float cupcakes and some kind of savory little puff thing. So there are special snacks just for people that want to go into the discovery session. Yes, you're being lured. It is bait, delicious bait, into the discovery session where you can meet with members of the nominating committee and the board to talk to you about how you can get involved in the inner workings of our fellowship. That is committee work or serving on the board or other types of things that you might want to get involved in. You can call this leadership, but I don't want you to be afraid of that word. What it means is it's where your skills and talents meet our needs. And we are a fellowship, which means that we really depend on everybody here to kind of like join in building this community. So that'll be after the service in the fireside room, which is right over here. And that doesn't mean also to get involved, you don't have to be somebody who's been here for years for that to happen. We love to have new folks' voices in all of that work because that makes a much more well-rounded committee works, and all of our inner workings are much better when we're meeting the needs of all of our people, whether they've been here for 2 weeks or whether they've been here for 20 years. So please check that out. And I also want to let you know that today is the kickoff of our 2025-2026 stewardship campaign. So our fiscal year starts in July. So the fiscal year that we're working on for pledging starts July 1st of 2025 and then goes through the end of June of 2026. And you're like, geez, Laura, why are we talking about this now? It's not even March. Because it takes a while to get the budget all ready after you all have made your pledges. We can't make a budget until we know what resources we have. So that's important. And then the board has to approve the budget, and then it all comes back to you all, and then you finally approve the budget, because who is the ultimate source of authority here? You are. So we got to get to work so we can get that all ready for you. Those of you that are members or pledging friends, after the service today, we have all of your pledge packets. They'll be down on the welcome table. And I think Kathleen and Steve are gonna be down there. They'll find your pledge packet for you. You can fill that out and turn it back into us next week or the following week, whenever you're here next. You can also go online and find the pledge form there. But do try to get your pledges in early. That really helps Steve and the finance committee get that budget in order so we can figure out what's happening for next year. And you'll hear more about this a little bit every Sunday for the next few weeks, so. That's what I have for announcements today, unless I missed anything. Did I miss anything? Does anybody else have something? Next week, SARG, Social Action and Racial Justice Committee, is meeting after the service, probably in the conference room. Again, grab some coffee and snacks and head in there if you're a member of that committee or if you're interested in the work that they're doing.
Don't forget about the listening support.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We also have a new listening support group on Thursdays. That's just casual. Come at 11 a.m. It's, you know, it's a little rough out there right now. So if you just need a space to check in with other people, maybe vent, maybe like get a hug, have a cup of tea with some folks, Thursday mornings at 11, that's here in the fireside room. Now I think I've got them all. Also, will let you know that the newsletter, Jeannie's working on it, probably will come out in a couple days. So be sure that you watch your email for the March newsletter and stay abreast of everything that's happening here next month. Our offering space is next, and this is the last Sunday in February. It feels so weird to say that because it's only the 23rd, but it's true. And this month, we're supporting Conversations with Friends. Steve Kramer was here from that organization last week. I hope that you all got a chance to hear that. If you weren't able to hear it, you can catch it on our YouTube page and learn more about that organization that supports immigrant detainees here in Minnesota. Will the ushers please come forward to take the offering?
I've been asked to just share a few words about why I give to MVUUF. Now, I was thinking it over, I could give you a list of the things that I get from donating here over the last 30 plus years. Music, social gatherings, services that very frequently move me, fascinating people, laughter and tears, joys and concerns, sharing my thoughts with people I respect and hearing theirs back, sometimes sitting alone in the welcoming quiet of this sanctuary. If you've never tried that, try it sometime. You can sneak in. Potlucks, conversations, and cake. These are definitely things that I get in exchange for pledging, but my relationship here with this community is more than transactional. It's more than a quid pro quo arrangement where I get what I pay for. I give because I find here something money can't buy. A sense of belonging. For me, a sense of belonging means knowing that there's always a place for me here. No matter what I do, what I feel, there is a place for me here. A place where I don't have to pay a price to enter, and I don't have to earn the right to belong. A place where I don't have to be perfect. A place where, to paraphrase the well-known Rumi poem, even if I've broken my vows 1,000 times, I will always be welcome. Yes, I am grateful for the sense of belonging that I feel here. Yet belonging is not an individual possession. It's not something that belongs to me or that I own. Belonging only becomes real and alive when I share it with others. When I share my belonging, my sense of belonging with others around me. And to be a community of welcoming and belonging takes ongoing care and commitment. It doesn't just happen once and done. That's why I give to our fellowship, so that we can continue working together, doing the best we can to make sure that this is and remains a place of belonging for everyone who walks through our door whenever they walk through that door. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Beloved friends, we gather in this sacred space not as individuals alone, but as a community bound together by shared hopes, by a longing for justice, by a desire to be a part of something greater than ourselves. So today we're going to explore our stewardship theme this year, which is building a community that burns bright, a community that illuminates the path of love, justice, and inclusion in a world that often feels darkened by division and fear. And because it's a stewardship campaign, our focus is on how we sustain and nurture and strengthen our community through our shared gifts of time, treasure, and talents. Now, each week, and those of you that are visiting will experience this in just a little bit. Each week, when we extinguish our chalice, we vow to take with us the warmth of community that we experience here. And this warmth is present because we gather in love and our love for one another, and we gather in a shared purpose. And like candles in the darkness, our individual flames may flicker and wane at times, but we also know a higher truth that one candle does not lose anything by relighting another, right? And so we give our light to each other over and over again in so many ways when we need to. And it's this very gesture that we engage in both small ways and grand ways that feed our spirits week after week. I know the fire in me is relit every Sunday morning when I hear the choir sing among us, Spirit of Life. I know that it's rekindled in me when I watch our children playing together downstairs. I know that it's resparked in me whenever I hear of the meaningful relationships that many of you have with one another outside of our being here on Sunday mornings. You know, I may be the minister, but I also look to this community to feed my spirit over and over again every week, just like you do. And that's why we come here, isn't it? To share our joys and sorrows, to find genuine companionship with folks who share our values, and to have our spirits renewed through songs and reflection, and through shared time together, through shared experiences together. Now, make no mistake, we have weathered through storms, collectively and individually, and there are no doubt challenges ahead to be had. But there's always that space here to come for respite, to come and be nurtured, to come and be wrapped together in love and feel held in that when it feels like everything else might be falling apart. The spirit of this place wraps us in the warmth of community that we all deeply long for. The spirit of this fellowship burns bright. We know this. But today I want to invite us to reflect on how we can build a community that burns bright, not just in spirit, but in its sustainability, in its effort to keep burning, ensuring that our resources, our care, and our commitments keep that fire alive for generations to come. So let's talk about the fire of generosity that is here. At the heart of this community is also radical hospitality and generosity. The first thing that happens when you come through these doors is that you're greeted and welcomed. And you're welcomed here as your whole self. We're not a faith community that judges your gender identity or your sexuality We're not a faith community that tells you you can only have one idea of what the ultimate source of life or love is. This is an open space where all paths make meaning and all thoughts and journeys are welcome. This is a place where all are invited to join us in reflecting on the things that are most important to us, to dwell in those big questions of life, not to come to consensus or find an answer, but to find companionship on this rich journey that we all share. So you're welcome here in your wholeness, which includes your certainty and also your uncertainty, and perhaps more importantly, your curiosity. In honoring UU tradition, we affirm the worth and dignity that's inherent in every person, welcoming all who seek a spiritual home. Our approach to radical hospitality has never been more needed than it is right now, when so many marginalized communities are being threatened. It's never been more needed. It has never been more needed that we are explicit about who is welcome here and who is loved here. But sustaining such a spiritual home as this requires all of us to share the responsibility of supporting the life and mission of this congregation to build a better world through love and service. How do we ensure that our community remains a beacon of inclusion and of strength? It begins with small things, a commitment to give what we can, whether that's financially or through sharing our time and our talents, or a combination, hopefully, of all of those things. And it's also important how we approach our stewardship of this fellowship. And I want to emphasize this because stewardship is not an obligation. Stewardship is about gratitude. It's about that belonging that Tom was talking about, and being grateful and being engaged in this community. It's about recognizing the abundance in our lives and sharing it so that our collective light shines brighter. It's about remembering how welcome we felt when we first came through those doors and extending that same sense of belonging to others when they come. Every one of your contributions, whether you just walked through to the doors today and your contribution is smiling and saying hello to others, or whether you've been here for 35 years, every bit of your contribution and energy is the fuel that sustains the warmth of this community. So I want you to look around. I want you to look around you, and I want you to see everyone that's here. And I want you to see the folks that have sung for you. See the folks who have opened doors for you and said hello. See the folks who are working behind the scenes, doing the administrative, financial things and the social action things, volunteering to teach your children or hold space in the nursery for our youngest members. See the folks who've shared a hot dish with you, who've given you comfort. Look around and see those folks that are here for you week after week, come what may. I look around and I'm reminded of this beautiful hymn by Shoshana Jedwab that goes like this. And I'm going to ask you to join in a minute. You'll catch on quick. Some of you probably know it. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. One more time. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. That's the warmth of community that we build together that burns bright. When we pull into that driveway on Sunday morning and see those beautiful flags greeting us, and you get that feeling that you know you're home, that's what we build here. So too burns the light of truth here. In our modern world, the very notion of truth and truth-telling is askewed, under threat. AI puts a whole new confusing spin on it as well. But this is nothing new. Truth has always been under threat. The real truth about life has been threatened by politicians on all sides, by capitalism and greed, by sexism, by the patriarchy, by homophobia, transphobia, ableism, racism, xenophobia, all those forms of oppression. The light of truth is threatened by all of this and by fear. Fear that if I acknowledge your suffering, that I might suffer the same and somehow lessen my own good fortune. But here again, we know a higher truth. A candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. The world is a brighter place when we know that and we live that. Now, friends, I might not know the meaning of this life altogether. I don't, just so you know, in case any of you come to ask me as though it's my job. I don't. But I do think I know, I have a good idea about what I think our purpose is, or at least what I've gotten to feel it for myself. Your purpose, my purpose, everyone's purpose in life is to shine, period. Every living thing is simply born to thrive. There is nothing in this world that doesn't exist to thrive. So if you ever are stumbling, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? Your purpose is to thrive. Your purpose is to shine. Now, what that looks like is obviously a more complicated question, and I can talk to you about that and help you find that. But that's our purpose, to shine. And our collective purpose together as a congregation is to not only let as much light shine from us as we can, but when we see that somebody else's light is being threatened beyond our walls, within our nation, within our world, it's our job to say, hey, that's not right, and to try and do something about it collectively or learn more about why it's happening, right? That's our job. I saw a post on Facebook the other day that said, why is the ethical question asked whether it's okay or not to steal a loaf of bread when you are starving? When the ethical question that we should be asking is, why would we be hoarding bread when there are people that are hungry, right? So how do we get to the light of truth when half the time we're just asking the wrong questions? We get there by building communities like this that also acknowledge our brokenness alongside our wholeness, right? By creating communities that are safe spaces for learning and healing and growing, by creating spaces where we can talk about hard things, uncomfortable things, and awkward things. This is where we learn to do the work of dismantling white supremacy together. This is where we learn to do the hard work of understanding our own privilege and unlearning our own inherited biases together. That's hard work. This is where we learn to be more inclusive of the LGBTQ community and create a safe space for everyone to find belonging. This is where we practice diversity, equity, and inclusion by continuing to make our fellowship accessible in all the new ways we can figure out to do that, so that it's more friendly to folks of all abilities. This is a community where we ask how we can help our immigrant and refugee neighbors who were just here visiting yesterday, the Ukrainian folks that we helped sponsor just a couple years ago. Your pledges, your donations, and your showing up here tackle the hard work of revealing the light of truth. And that is fuel that sustains our commitment to building a better world through love and service. Do not be fooled into thinking that UUs do not answer to a higher calling because our beliefs look different than the mosque or the temple or the church down the street. We do indeed answer to a higher calling, and that calling is to reveal love and share that light as much as we can in the world. During the stewardship campaign, folks are often just focused on their financial support of the fellowship, but I want to tell you this is a much bigger opportunity than that. Because beneath the dollar signs and the budget numbers, there's a much bigger question. What are your beliefs and your values calling upon you to do? Because that's why we're here. And where does that calling for you meet with your commitment? And again, your commitment here, whether you're a member or just someone looking for a community, it's about more than your financial support. What we do here is shared ministry. Shared ministry. And as Tom mentioned, ministry is not a transaction. Ministry is about engaging with the life of this congregation. It's about volunteering and mentoring and teaching and advocating. It's about looking out for one another and lending a hand. It's also about receiving. You're here to do the hard work to learn how to receive help, because I will tell you that is just as hard a work as some of the other stuff that I've talked about. And I know a lot of you know this because you struggle with receiving the help when it's your turn to receive. So we do that work here too. It's about building relationships that make our faith tangible and transformative. It's about keeping alive the fire of our commitment, again, to build a better world through love and service. A fire that burns bright is not merely a comfort, it's also a force of transformation. And this is the work of our shared ministry. The work of justice is not separate from stewardship either. It's an expression of our faith. Our resources, our time, our energy, our financial support allow us to be a presence of hope in this world. And I just want to lift up, that happens when we sponsor refugee families, right? That happens when we share our offering every week with a local organization. That happens when we have speakers here like Steve last week, who talked to us about the immigrant detainees here in Minnesota. This is it was a real thing before, but now it feels even more real. We need to know where we can plug in and get involved. We need to know where our light can shine, where we can help. Your purpose is to thrive. We're here to help you find spots where that can happen. It happens yesterday when some of us gathered here for a workshop on transgender justice and inclusion and talked about our own inherent biases and talked about all the vocabulary around that and learning to be in relationships with each other. It happens when you show up for Will and Harper later in the month and partake that way. We're not just here to serve ourselves. We do something that extends far beyond our walls. We're here to build a community that burns bright for everyone. Our neighbors, our friends, and strangers we will never, ever meet, but whose lives will be touched and made better by the work that we do here. We are once again inviting you to renew your commitment or to join us in our shared ministry to ensure that those who come after us will find a community of belonging, will find a community just as strong, just as welcoming, and just as committed to justice as we are today. We're here to build a community that burns bright and shines as a beacon, lighting the way for more love in the world. Blessed be and amen. So the Spirit, segue, The Spirit is calling you to do. Can you hear it? All right, because I'm gonna invite y'all to get a little riled up and join in singing hymn 1024, When the Spirit Says Do. Will you all please join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together.
All right, you Bible folks.
Close with these words. A single flame can offer light, but many flames together can set the world aglow. May we leave this place committed to tending the fire of generosity, fueling the flame of commitment, and becoming beacons of sustainable justice. May our community burn brightly, radiating hope and love for all who seek its light. Amen. Hold on to your hats now.
If I want to follow all of you singing Spirit Says Do. Here we go. Can't see nothing in front of me. Can't see nothing coming up behind. Make my way through this darkness. Can't see nothing but this chain that binds. Make me look of how far I've gone. Far I've gone, how high I've climbed. On my back's a 60-pound stone. On my shoulder, I have my life. Come on up for the ride. Come on up, lay your hands in mine. Come on up for the ride. Come on up for the ride tonight. Left my house this morning. Bells ringing, filled the air. Wearing the chalice of my calling. On wheels of fire, I come rolling down here now. Come on up for the ride. Come on up, lay your hands in mine. Come on up for the ride. Come on up for the ride tonight. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. Spirits above and behind me. Faces gone black, eyes burning bright. May their precious blood bind me. Lord, as I stand before your fiery light. La, 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 la. See you, Mary, in the garden of 1,000 sighs. Oily pictures of our children dancing in a sky filled with light. May I feel your arms around me. May I feel your blood mixed with mine. Dream of life comes to me like a catfish dancing on the end of my line. Sky of darkness and of sorrow. Sky of love. Sky of tears. Sky of glory and of sadness. Sky of mercy. Sky of fear. Sky of memory and shadow. Your burning wind fills my arms tonight. Sky of longing and emptiness. Sky of fullness, sky of blessed light. Come on up for the ride. Come on up, lay your hands in mine. Come on up for the ride. Come on up for the ride tonight. Come on up for the ride. Come on up, lay your hands in mine. Come on up for the ride. Come on up for the ride tonight. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.